Well, hello, everybody. So glad you're with us here today. Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. We are ready to go midweek. I'm here at Network Control. Barry on the road again with Troy basketball before he heads back home. How's it going out there in Houston?
Well, it's going good now. Trojans played number 13 Houston last night, and Houston wins it 62-42. So we are headed back today and getting things going. Let's get things started.
Let's do it.
Everybody, all of our guys on the chat. Yeah, you can hear us. Awesome.
Yes.
That's great. That's great. We have made some tweaks and everything, as we do all the time, even tons of them that you don't even see. We're always evolving everything, making a few changes here and there, and we are locked and loaded, ready to go for a Wednesday. And we're going to start it off pretty quickly here. So let's just go ahead and begin by saying thank you for joining us, for being with us. He's John Longshore. Well, it changes now. He's John Longshore. I'm Barry McKnight. That changed. Normally, I look the other way when I'm looking at John. Now I can.
Barry, it's kind of like the Brady Bunch. In the opening credits when they look at each other, they go like that. You got to make sure what box you're looking at.
Yeah, that is that's good enough for me. But we are we want you to hit the like button. We want you to hit subscribe button. Tell all of your friends and everything. And we are good to go here from Houston, Texas, and from Mission Control with John in the background. I'll be back later on today, and we're on location again tomorrow. So we got a lot going on heading into the second half of the week here.
Yep, we certainly do. And of course, really want to remind you about our association with Yellowhammer News, yellowhammernews.com. Of course, there's a write-up about this show each and every day at yellowhammernews.com with story write-up about what we talked about today. Also, video content. You can check us out and on their Facebook page, our Facebook page, X, Instagram, you name it. We're all over it. Spotify as well. So really, so many options there for you to consume our program, and we really appreciate it. We love the response. We love all the chat about it, and spread the word. Let everybody know. And Barry, speaking of Yellowhammer News, very important. You need to go to yellowhammernews.com. Everybody out there within the sound of our voices and looking at our faces, yellowhammernews.com. When you go to that homepage, in that top left corner, you'll see Longshore and McKnight bowl prediction. Click it, and take you about 5 minutes. Little information that they're going to need. You pick the games that you think are going to win in this upcoming bowl season, and you could win a $1,000 travel voucher from the Montgomery Regional Airport. We'll be there tomorrow broadcasting live, but go ahead and get your picks in. They must be in by Saturday at 12 noon in our bowl prediction contest.
It's going to be great. We've done it every year. Always great participation. Great prizes as well. So make sure you are in on that. A lot of you like to wait until the last minute. And this day and age, I don't blame you. There's nothing like getting on there and feeling solid about your bowl predictions. Man, I love this guy. And then you look down and 40% of the teams have their starters that are in the transfer portal or something. Like, what?
Yeah.
Hang on. So
come on. I didn't know that.
But make sure you get it in there.
Hey, our good buddy Mike Griffith with the Atlanta Journal-Constitution Dog Nation joining us here this morning to kick things off. Wanted to get Mike's take about everything going on college football. Hey, Griff, thanks so much for joining us today. Hope you're doing well.
Oh, I'm doing great, guys. Thanks for having me on.
All right. Got to get your reaction. College football playoff bracket, like, hate, indifferent. I doubt knowing you indifferent. What do you think, Mike?
Well, around here, you kind of get used to the Kirby way. You kind of see things for what they are and don't spend a whole lot of time complaining about it. It is what it is. I mean, under the circumstances, this is what we were going to get. I mean, the committee stayed true and consistent with the rankings in the end. They looked at the one-loss record. They protected the conference championship game losers. They didn't re-rank the teams behind them. And here we are. I mean, I'm still – it's 3 days later, and I'm just now getting around to a storyline. I think everybody maybe we saw it in the moment, but let's face it, a lot happened on Saturday all over college football, and it's hard to just kind of stop and grasp the moment. And I know I'm on Alabama airwaves, but guys, I can't help but tell this story. I mean, going into that game, I'm sitting there going, this is going to be Arch Manning. This is the beginning of the legend. This is where he's going to come off the bench. You know, Ewers had his shot, got sacked 7 times earlier this year. Sark's going to put in Manning, and Texas is going to, and the whole Arch Manning thing is going to. But that wasn't what happened at all. It was this other backup quarterback, Gunnar Stockton, this little guy. We didn't even talk about him. This guy, he's not the future. He's not competing for the starting job. Never mind that he's Georgia's all-time leading high school passer.
Oh.
Touchdown scored, all that. He did all that. But that's nice. That's a cute little story. He's too little for this. You put that kid in there, and I mean, he drove them three out of 4 first drives. This is supposed to be the number 1 defense in the Texas. They're number 1 defense. Oh, all the money and all the big names, and we look a little closer and say they didn't play anybody. But that's Texas.
Yeah, I think Kirby pointed that out in the post game.
The cameras keep going to the defensive coordinator, and he's just like, holy shit, I'm gonna get beat by a backup. He's trying to what are we doing here? And Mike Bobo, the fans are like, we hate this guy. And they're running up and down the field, and Bobo's play calling, and you're just going, where was this in the script? If this is a movie, it's like the producer's going, hey, wasn't Arch Manning supposed to be this guy in Georgia? And then we have our moment, right, where the guy gets knocked out, it's slow, the knees buckle and the helmet come, a movie couldn't script. If you saw that in the movies, you'd say, that didn't really happen.
I'm throwing popcorn at the screen.
That didn't happen. Oh, yeah, he's going to hold on to the ball when he gets knocked out.
Yeah, I'm with you, Griff. Yeah, I thought it was going to be the Arch Manning show as well. I was expecting some heroics out of Manning. Didn't happen, but as you just so well put, Georgia certainly with their backup did incredibly well. And I guess saying that with the injury to Carson Beck, is his career over at Georgia? Are we going to be looking at this young guy coming in the playoffs?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think so. I mean, because if we look at the history of Kirby, chapter 7, verse 6, right?
Yeah.
The book of Kirby, it used to be the book of Saban, but now it's like Old Testament, New Testament, right? Now we're into the book of Kirby now. And when the starter is uncertain, like JT Daniels was with his injury, Kirby makes a move. Kirby's not good with the maybe he'll play. Kirby's like, no, I need to know what I got, and we're getting ready. So if I know Kirby right, the fact that there's a second opinion and there's no timetable, Kirby's not going to sit around and wait. They got a game plan. They know Gunnar. And when you look at the bracket, you say, well, my gosh, I mean, the hard part's over with, right? You played Alabama, you played Ole Miss, you played Tennessee, you played Texas twice. Now you got the winner of Notre Dame and Indiana. And then you get maybe who? SMU, Penn State, or Boise State. Are these names scaring you? These are teams probably 500 in the SEC, if we're being real about it. So the hard part's over. Now on January, what is it, 2024? Whoever you're going to see in Atlanta is going to be pretty good, because 5 of the best 6 teams are over there in that bracket, including the guy that Alabama didn't even give an interview to, the guy that never mind that he played there. Never mind that he beat Nick Saban twice with less talent. Never mind that he built a program in a small town that you'd never stop in for any other reason except maybe to look at their stadium or see a lake nearby. He built it in the middle of nowhere, frankly. Clemson.
Oh, yeah. Auburn with a lake.
But Alabama, too rich to give this guy. Oh, they're too good now to give him an interview. They're too good for Dabo Swinney. Okay, and where are they today?
Yeah.
Where are they today? Now, I will say this. I thought at their best that Alabama was the best team in the SEC. At their best. But that lack of consistency will get you every time in football. It's about consistency. It's about program culture. And in one year, Kalen DeBoer coach it his way. I mean, it was just too much of a departure from Nick Saban. And oh, by the way, listen, I celebrate Nick Saban as much as anybody. I love watching him on TV. I think he's phenomenal. But he left Alabama high and dry. That he went late in the process. All these kids transferred out. He didn't do Kalen DeBoer any favors with the timing of this at all. And by the way, where was Nick Saban to help with the team? Oh, he's going to be there to help with the team. What a crock. He wasn't there to help with the team. Do you think they'd lost 24-3 if Nick Saban was helping with the team? I mean, Nick Saban had nothing to do with the team. Let's be honest. That was a sell job. That was a smoke screen. And shame on anybody believed that Nick Saban would stay involved with that football. Now, he might have been there for, what do you think of this scheme, Nick? Yeah, send me this stuff in the mail. He wasn't helping with it. Let's just stop. You're holding your breath, but be honest. He did not stay involved with the team to the extent that it made any sort of difference.
And I'm with you, Mike, in leaving. When is the best time to leave? Because you're right. I mean, it was tough, and that opened up that 30-day transfer window, and people are hopping out. DeBoer can't go find replacements until 30 days has passed. When do you leave?
Well, I don't know when you do leave, but you at least let people know so that they can find the next head coach in time. Because instead of going da-da-da-da-da-da, you ought to, at Alabama, at that program, Nick Saban's got everything under control. I see it. Kirby, same way. Everything. There's a backup team bus in case one breaks down. In fact, that happened at Alabama. There's this gold bus. What's that? Oh, that's the backup bus. The backup bus? Well, one might break down. Kirby's got it. But sure enough, at Alabama, little did we know Georgia would break down in the first half. But so you're telling me that Nick Saban couldn't have the guy ready, the hand-picked guy ready next, instead of telling everybody, even though he's buying the house and all, oh no, there's no plans to leave. Oh, nothing to see here. I mean, let's not get revisionist history. He was telling everybody that everything was fine and this didn't mean anything. But behind the scenes, he's also doing a show with the obnoxious West Virginia guy, which you just know he doesn't like. That is not a Nick Saban guy. I mean, the guy's a clown. And you're going to put this legendary coach next to this clown. I mean, it's good TV. But the fact that Nick Saban was doing that show every week, I mean, that clearly portended into him working for the network. They knew what was going on. They knew Nick was going to be on the air. That wasn't a coincidence that all of a sudden, Nick Saban's going to cut time out of his schedule to do television with Pat McAfee, just out of the blue. So let's take a look and see what really happened. So my point is this. I'm not saying this to pick on Nick Saban because I think somebody would hire him tomorrow, maybe Ohio State if Ryan Day doesn't win a national title, $20 million a year. Right. But all I'm saying is Kalen DeBoer had a tough job on his hands. And I thought he did a really good job coming out of the gate. I thought he had Jalen Milroe playing like a Heisman Trophy winner. I wish I could vote Jalen Milroe for the Heisman Trophy. I think truly when he was at his best, he was the best player. He was dynamic. But Jalen just had too many moments where I just couldn't get him on my back. I just can't do it when you don't score a touchdown against Oklahoma. I just can't do it, even though I believe this guy's so special. DeBoer just couldn't get the consistency that he needed with guys out of his program, coaching a different style. It was going to be a tough job for anybody. And let's face it, Alabama was one of the 12 best teams. So was Ole Miss. So was South Carolina. This cockamamie system was built, I don't know, to get other, participation award trophies, or something like that. I mean, we got teams in there you look at and you go, what would the score be if Alabama played SMU? Maybe 30, and good Jalen showed up. Maybe like 37-20. What would it be against Arizona State? I know Mississippi State played within a touchdown at their place. Maybe 45-17. What would it be against Penn State? Maybe 34-10, if we're being honest.
But Mike, obviously you didn't see the release from the college football playoff where executive director Richard Clark reminded everybody that, quote, projecting how this team would play against that team is not what we do. When that type of discussion began, I would step in and remind everybody of the protocols. I think we should value conference championships. The way that it is set up, I know the fans love to see that, but One of the things John says, who would be favored in a game against all of these others? You're not supposed to do that, Mike. You're just strictly supposed to go by numbers. And no, stay with me. Don't fall asleep. Stay with me, Mike.
No, Barry, I was just going to interject. I was on all the teleconferences, and first of all, I have great respect for Rich Clark. He served in the Air Force for 38 years. And he's a tremendous leader, and he's a guy I'd want to be in a foxhole with. I respect this man a great deal, and I want to preface what I'm saying by saying that, because I truly respect this man that served our country in the highest capacity. I mean, if I was still a soldier when I was in the military in the 82nd Airborne, if we saw a general, we wanted to fall to our knees and bow. I mean, those dudes are gods when you're in the service, and Rich was that sort of leader. Now, that said, Rich also said in the very first teleconference before the first ranking came out that strength of schedule would be an extremely important metric, because it was the one metric that transversed all conferences. Unfortunately, I don't know if Ward Manuel missed class that day or wasn't listening. He was on the teleconference, but that message did not translate. And that was what was lost in the equation, was schedule strength. For all the talk that it was important and, we're going to look at it, they really didn't. When push came to shove, schedule strength was pushed aside. And Ward Manuel's response was, well, they can only play the teams on their schedule. That's true, but you have to evaluate that schedule, right? Just like college basketball, this is where the SEC coaches have gone with it. I think Brian Kelly was the first that I heard mention this. When you look at the NCAA basketball tournament seedings, it's in fact very rarely the teams that have the most wins. I remember covering Tennessee basketball when Bruce Pearl was there, and I want to say it was maybe the second or third round. They played a 30-win team called American, and it was the I want to say it was the lowest 30-win seed, but it was the highest seed to have to play a 30-win team. But the point was, American was not one of the top 8 seeds, because they didn't play in a good conference. It was a different level of basketball. And the basketball people they're kind of ahead here. They had the payola going in AAU way before football and the camps and things like that. And they're way ahead in this tournament style of postseason, because they're able to evaluate. Remember when the ACC would get like 8 or 9, you could be 500 in the ACC. And you get in the tournament, right? Now, that's happened in the SEC.
Do you think, Mike, that's the way they're going in football? I mean, next year they're going to regroup and say, look, we got to seed this thing like the basketball tournament. These automatic conference champions, Arizona State's, Boise's of the world, that ain't going to happen anymore.
I would agree with that, but that's where it gets challenging, because there's not as many games, and it's harder to gauge when there's not as much interconference play. Like I say this about the Big Ten, I really don't know how good they are. Oregon beat Boise State by 3 and Idaho by 10. I don't really out of conference. I don't know. I know Texas went up to Michigan and beat them like 31-12, and I think or Oregon might have beat them 38 to whatever. Ohio State lost to them. I don't know how good, because if you look at the Big Ten non-conference schedules, they didn't really play anybody. We had a USC LSU game out in Vegas back when USC still had some guys who wanted to play defense. And it was a toss-up game, and I don't really know what LSU is at this point. I mean, they look great beating Ole Miss, and they look bad another. So we don't really know how good the conference is. Now, I always make the argument, and some people's, every year is viewed. I get every year is viewed differently, but guess what? It's December in Georgia, and I have a pretty good idea it's going to be colder, and there might be some, might get down to 30. Now, that doesn't mean that's going to happen in 2025, guys. And in the summertime here, it's going to be about 90. That doesn't mean it's going to happen in 2020. Okay, so the last 10 years, 10 of the 20 teams that have played for the national championship are from the SEC. 4 of the last 5 champions. The SEC has a winning percentage of about 74% in that college football playoff. And over the last 19 years, the SEC's had more teams, more guys drafted in the NFL. Again, I can't guarantee it's going to be hot in Georgia this summer, but based on the last, 2024 years plus BC, I should know how many years there was BC. I don't. I missed that day in class. But my point is, there's no reason to believe that the SEC still isn't the most talented in the best league based on the 10-year prior history. So to go in there and pretend Like, well, we don't know. It's a new year. Maybe the Mountain West is the best this year. So we're going to give Boise State a bye, just like we are every other conference. That's just stupid. It's just dumb.
Yeah.
And we got to do better than that.
The scheduling component you brought up. I think Nick Saban was misunderstood Sunday when he talked about scheduling. I think he was really talking about future schedules. When he talked about Alabama having Notre Dame and Ohio State and several other Power 5 teams on their non-conference. I know Georgia's got a lot of really good non-conference games scheduled as well. I think the point was, if you're not going to worry about scheduling, then we need to be scheduling Mercer and Louisiana Monroe and 4 other crappy non-conference games. In this 9-game conference schedule, you can forget about it. We're going to stay at 8, play 4 crappy non-conference teams, because obviously strength of schedule has nothing to do with the formula of getting into the playoff.
Well, that's clear. And this is a toast to the Bryant Denny Skybox.
I like it.
I'm not above taking souvenirs out of the press room.
Hey, me either, Mike. I got a whole stack of them.
You got all these at home?
Oh, you better believe it. You better believe it.
You better believe it. You go to Bryant Denny Stadium, you better come home with the souvenir.
Yeah,
and,
you better
and
believe
I had to
it.
sit in that press box and watch that godforsaken game and rewrite that game story about 8 times because it's a blowout at halftime. Well, now Georgia's going to – no, Alabama –
Yeah.
To your point, John. Yes, they got to change the format, and I take a deep breath and sigh because I'm just over it. I'm looking at it like, okay, yes, the cooler heads are going to prevail. Greg Sankey's, well, I didn't expect that to happen. Well, Greg, now you know, and now you must deal with this, and now you must look closer at your conference schedule as well, because if the Big Ten's going to play this game, where their top teams don't play one another, then maybe we need to reassess how the SEC schedules, which isn't fair. But are we talking fairness here, or are we talking about money and trying to get your best teams in the playoff? Because this league cannibalizes itself. You can't go to 9 games unless you get those 4 guaranteed bids.
Yeah.
If you get 4 guaranteed bids to the playoff, all bets are off. But if you don't, then you're going to have to really, like Nick Saban said, you're going to have to reconsider the scheduling model if this is true. Now, you and I and Nick know this ain't going to happen again. I said it before. They're going to decommission the commission. This guy, if there was, he might have been impeached. I don't know if you can impeach a CFP. and I don't even know if it's actually Ward Manuel's fault. But where my mind went, I don't know if you guys heard, I think they said, well, Randall McDaniel couldn't make the last, meeting. And so where my mind went is like, some fan, running this guy off the road. This guy votes against my team. We got to keep him out of the meeting. He's what's holding us up. I mean, we got 13 people here deciding this. I just, the whole thing is crazy. So number one, you want to see the teams properly. And number two, you want to have some metrics in place that people can evaluate and understand what they need to work for.
Randall McDaniel leaves a Starbucks and he looks down and he sees a $20 bill, but there's a fishing line to it and everything. And,
Hey, Griff, as we wind up with you, is it just buyer fatigue? Is it too much for the fans? There were empty seats in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. There were a ton at Bank of America in Charlotte. There were empty stadiums at Jerry World. You would think the conference championship games would be a huge sellout.
Well, late arriving crowd, and Charlotte had some inclement weather. But to your point, I think it's budgetary. I mean, I don't know who can afford. I couldn't, if my company wasn't paying me to go to these places, I couldn't afford to go to all these places. And now you're talking about potentially 3 more games that your team's going to play in. So I think some of it's budget. I think some of it did have to do with the fact that the conference championship games, now that there's a 12-team playoff, certainly they're not as they wouldn't seem as important. Although I will say, after watching the games, I was very entertained. I mean, that Clemson SMU game was fantastic, and the Georgia Texas game was fantastic. I think those things can be protected and worked into the model, but there needs to be a little bit more organizations, and the coaches need to feel like they have an understanding of what they need to do to get in the playoff. And that is one thing that the BCS gave us, whether you liked it or not. we understood that there were these three, at least at first, there were 3 computer formulas. I believe they went to 7 and dropped the lowest after that. So there were computer formulas. There was the human polls. So you had to be aware of who you were playing. I know Auburn fans out there remember the year they got left out as an undefeated team. If I'm not mistaken, they had dropped an FBS team and scheduled a 1AA team, and that ultimately led to their computer strength schedule dropping down. So Oklahoma got to play in the national championship game instead of Auburn.
2004, yeah.
And I'll add this. When we, the final say on the 3 teams that should have, would have, could have been in, they all had an argument. As I've said, Alabama had the most impressive wins, and I thought was the most impressive team at their best. Alabama's ceiling was such that had Alabama gotten into the playoff and played their 3 best football games, they could have absolutely won a national championship. There's no doubt in my mind. So that was the team with the highest ceiling. Ole Miss was probably the most consistent team through the year. And I think if I were going to say the best team, I'd just say Ole Miss of the 3 was the best team. South Carolina was playing the best football at the end of the year. However, they lost head-to-head to Alabama and Ole Miss. So you could make a really good argument for any one of those 3 teams to get in, and ideally all 3 of them would have gotten in. But that's not how this 12-team playoff was set up, with conference champions getting automatic bids, and then the unintended consequence, somewhere along the line, somebody decided that if you get to the conference championship game, you shouldn't be punished if you lose. Somebody call 2023 Georgia and tell them that. Because those guys had won 29 games in a row and were undefeated and lost by a field goal to Alabama and dropped out of the playoff. I didn't hear any, you can't punish. Well, now we got a whole new narrative every year, right? So I think my point is SMU had a chance to win their way in and they blew it. But hey, let's take care of the little guy. We can't punish him. We can't punish him for losing to a 3-loss Clemson and letting a team go 40 yards in 15 seconds. To me, that's a punishable offense.
Yeah.
When Alabama is sitting there on the sidelines and just watching and throwing popcorn at the screen, and being able to leapfrog them there. Mike, this is all really, really good, compelling stuff. We wish we had more time.
Yeah, I don't normally curse on it, so you guys consider yourself fortunate. I let one go for y'all today because
we're provocative.
Hey, well, you know what, Griff? Yeah. I mean, Saban's been dropping S-bombs every week on College Game Day.
That's right.
Yeah, multiple times actually.
That's right. If Nick Saban can do it. And plus, it really was a holy ass moment for that defensive coordinator. Yeah. He's standing there going, I got my brains beaten in Austin, and now the daggone backup's going to beat me on national television.
It's some of the verbiage that I love in common. Saban mentions mouse manure, and Mike brings cockamamie into the conversation. Much respect.
Mike Griffith, AJC Dog Nation. Check him out. Great work, man. We always love having you
Only
on.
Because it's Alabama. Only because it's Alabama. I was born in Mobile, Alabama. Yes. Don't ever forget that. I get called out in this and that, and I was born right there in Alabama.
Love the port city of Mobile. Some great folks down there. Got a lot of friends. Hey, Griff, if we don't talk to you before Christmas, have a wonderful Christmas. Merry Christmas, and I know we'll touch base again real soon.
All right, guys. Have a good one. Thank you very much.
You too, buddy. You too, man. Thank you so much. Great. Wow, Mike Griffith, AJC Dog Nation. We're a little late for a break, but when Griff gets going, I mean, you just can't. You can't stop him. Just can't stop him.
That's exactly right. You're sitting there trying to figure out how to pull back on the reins. Well, it is Longshore and McKnight. He's John Longshore. I'm Barry McKnight. In conjunction with Yellowhammer News, it's Longshore and McKnight presented by Bud Light.
The Victoryland Casino 8 days of giveaways is going on now. The more you visit, the more chances you have to win. We're giving away $125,000 in free play and cash. That's right. Victoryland Casino is giving away $125,000 in free play and cash. Come play the latest and greatest games featuring exciting bonuses and huge jackpots. There's always more ways to win at Victoryland Casino off I-85 exit 22, Shorter, Alabama. Must be 21 or older. Must be present to win.
Welcome to the holidays. They're officially here. Time for tradition, family gatherings, meals, and the annual scramble of searching for those last-minute gifts. Speaking of gifts, this season Budweiser's got your back. Head to the store right now and look for our specials. Why go all over town looking for that perfect gift when Budweiser takes care of everyone in one convenient ice-cold package? When you stock up on Budweiser with our specials, you'll have plenty to share with your friends and family. They'll all appreciate that Budweiser's brewed the hard way and has been for 140 years. We use the finest barley, malt, and hops grown in Idaho and Germany. We don't take any shortcuts when we're brewing. That's our tradition. So make the most of your holidays. Stop by your local store now for our special. Get enough Budweiser for yourself, your friends, and your family. It's a new holiday tradition everyone can enjoy together. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Bud.
Shopping for a budget-friendly, reliable used car, or maybe a stunning new Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, or Ram? Well, in Prattville, it's always a process that starts with the team of professionals from Stivers CDJR. Thanks to years of experience helping others in the local community enjoy premium service, low prices, and access to a wealth of amazing new and used cars, it's safe to say that Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is the name to beat in Prattville. But hey, just don't take my word for it. Experience the Stivers difference for yourself. Prices that will not be beat, a huge inventory, and knowledgeable, helpful sales associates. See why so many happy car and truck buyers shop at Stivers CDJR, where Price sells cars and trucks on Cobbs Ford Road in Prattville. Alrighty, welcome back. So glad you are with us here today on this Wednesday. Mike Griffith, Dog Nation, joining us. Man, Griff always getting it going. Really appreciate his time here on the program. CJ Duncan from Yellowhammer News at the top of the next hour. And, of course, Barry, we got to remind everybody, because you've only got until Saturday at 12 noon to get in on the bold prediction contest. How do you enter? Go to yellowhammernews.com. That's yellowhammernews.com. You'll see the icon there in the top left portion of the page. Click that icon and it'll ask you a couple of questions. You fill it out. You pick your teams. It'll take less than 5 minutes. You will be in the bold prediction contest, and you will be able to have a chance to win a $1,000 travel voucher for the Montgomery Regional Airport. That's right. $1,000 travel voucher is up for grabs. We give you a reason to be interested in the bowl games. Could you imagine actually being interested in bowl games if it wasn't for the bowl prediction contest? Now you are. I mean, I'm even talking about, that Pop-Tart Bowl and the, Frito-Lay Bowl and some of these bowl games. You have no idea who the two teams are that are playing. Now you will, because that could be the difference in you winning the contest and coming in second.
Wait a minute. That's the bowl prediction contest actually is the second mechanism known to man to make somebody interested in a game that they wouldn't normally be interested in otherwise?
Yes, it is. Unless you are illegally gambling on it in the state of Alabama, this is the next best thing.
Yes, and we do not condone any type of illegal gambling. Lots of things to get to today. A little bit later on, CJ Duncan, a player's perspective as to what he saw in the conference championship games and the way things shook out in the college football playoff. I said that I would tell you when the numbers got in. Well, the numbers are in, John.
Yep.
The SEC football championship game, Texas and Georgia. Great game, wonderful game.
Mm-hmm.
It averaged 16.6 million viewers to ABC. The peak was 19.7. The peak was almost 20 million viewers, probably near the end. But the average at any moment, there was probably around 16.6 million watching the SEC football championship. I watched it. The Big 12 championship, which was Iowa State versus Arizona State. Arizona State won that one, and that probably figured in. The Big 12 championship was viewed by an average of 6.9 million people. Nearly
now, Barry, you
10
see,
million less.
Yeah. See, now you're getting me interested in a topic. And, well, how do I go ahead and say this? The empty seats are one thing, and I saw a ton of. They had tarps in Charlotte.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
And it wasn't necessarily all because of the bad weather,
no, not at all.
because, I mean, they had entire sections cordoned off. They knew.
So,
Also, by the way, the ACC championship, speaking of Charlotte,
yep.
drew an average of 6 million.
Okay, so the Big
The
12,
peak viewership of the SEC, it peaked at 19.7 at
yeah,
one point at least.
okay.
The ACC never drew more than 8.8.
And what was the Big Tens again?
The peak for the Big Ten was 7.8,
So
but it
wait a minute.
averaged a
You're
little
saying
bit
the
more.
SEC almost tripled the Big Ten?
The Big 12.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sorry. What was the Big Ten? What was
Oh,
their rating again?
I haven't seen that one. I'll look
Yeah.
it up. I was looking at those.
So
Yeah.
I'm thinking,
It's
yeah.
on
So
another
there
minute.
again, right then and there, I'm getting into a boardroom with all of these heavy hitters and saying, gentlemen and ladies, here's the harsh reality. We've got a league that tripled your league in television ratings, and we didn't have to put tarps up in the upper deck to cover the empty seats. That means you're not going to the playoff because we're spending $1 billion to televise this event. We don't want teams playing in it that don't draw eyeballs. Hate it for you. That's just the reality of it. And if this continues, you'll have the SEC and the Big Ten saying, we don't need these other people. They are leeches. They are bloodsuckers, and they are taking away from what we do. We're not here to help them out. We're here to help ourselves and better our league. So we're going to a super conference, something that a local radio personality 35 years ago said, we need to start a big boy conference. And it's going to finally happen one day because those numbers right there don't lie. Why are we dragging these guys to the party? They're a dud. We don't need them.
A dud. This is what absolutely just grinds my gears. It doesn't matter how good they are. Forget that. It's all about how much dust they can raise. How
Yeah.
much, it doesn't matter. Quality teams, it doesn't matter. I don't care if they're any good. People aren't watching them.
I'd say,
That's the substance of our society. Yeah, you don't have to generate quality product. Just get people to look at you.
yeah. I've seen some great 1A high school football games, but they don't get as much attention and recognition as the 7A. Might be as good as they are, but they just don't. That's just where they are. And if I was in that meeting again, I said, can you at least get to double digits? I mean, 6 million. Can you at least get to 10? And maybe we'll talk. But I got a league here that's pushing 20. I got 2 of them pushing 20. These are NFL type ratings. You're down here. This is like how do I put it? I don't know what league I'm looking for. I mean, but come on, you got to give me some more. And there again, I've said it forever. I know it's not a business, but we all know it is. And when you're covering up seats with tarps and your ratings are 3 times less than 2 of the big boy leagues, you don't have anything to argue about. There's nothing to talk about.
Being good, being high quality,
Okay.
being accomplished,
Okay.
and being productive, and all of that. You ain't got to worry about that.
If they were so good, then people would be watching. If they were just the end all be all, their ratings would be up there with the SEC and the Big Ten. But they're not because people across the country go, that's not that level of football's not even close. I mean, look, I hate it for them. I really do.
Oh, please. Hang on. Excuse me.
I mean, I really do. I hate it for them. But, life stuff. And in the business world, you think, man, really, McDonald's sells that many hamburgers? I don't get it. I've never really liked McDonald's, but man, they're selling billions of sold every day. I don't get it. What's up with that? But, they're the big boy.
The 3 that just absolutely slay me. Number 1 is, but the reality is, this is what's happening. But the reality is when he says that, I'm going, here we go. Number 2, hate it for you. He does not hate it for you. And the one that always gets me, the one at the very end, look, It's a business. When he mentions the real world, oh, like the real world takes place in corporate boardrooms and everything. And if they were any good, people would be watching them.
Yeah,
You
it's that
know,
simple. Sure. I mean, of the 19 million people that watched the SEC championship game, I can't believe all 19 million of them were Georgia and Texas fans. They were casual college football fans that went, "Wow, this is a great game. These are two teams I want to watch." What about the ACC? Nah, not so much. Not as much interested in them. They don't float my boat. And I get it. Maybe I'm not genuine and sincere when I say, "Nah, hate it for them." It's kind of like people that come up to you sometime and go, "Man, sorry about that fender bender you had yesterday." They're probably not, but they just got to come up with something nice to say.
Well, actually, it was 2 weeks ago, but I appreciate. Yeah. I misspoke. That's what I meant to say. I didn't mean to say yesterday. I meant to say 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are you talking about? Just seeding the ratings, or just having a 16-team invitational? I'm trying to overstate it, but I'm having a hard time overstating it to where John says, "No, I'm not saying that. That would be silly." I'm sitting here saying, so you're talking about having just 6 names, doesn't matter how good they are. They're the ones that draw the eyeballs, and put them.
Well, we can factor in Vegas as well.
Right.
Who Vegas thinks the favorites would be. I think that'd be a good quote matrix to use along with the ratings. But it's kind of like the NFL. If they had if they could do it that way, you think Dallas would be in every one of those playoffs? It didn't matter what the Cowboys' record was; they're going to be in. We're putting the Cowboys in it.
That's my point. You don't want that. You don't want that, right?
Well,
they're horrible.
But what does America want? What do the viewers want? What do the customers want? Because at the end of the day, this is a business. And you got to go to these advertisers and say, and they might go, "You got the Cowboys in?" "Yeah, well, they drew 30 million. Okay, keep them in every year. Don't matter. Who cares?" And,
that's
there again, is it the competition aspect? You would think it would be. But, I mean, these guys are looking for money. They're generating revenue. And SMU and Clemson don't generate as much revenue as Georgia and Texas do.
Even though they may be better? Being better? Forget that. Being more accomplished than somebody else? America wasn't built on accomplishment.
Well,
America wasn't built on results. They were built on glitz.
Unfortunately,
and Hollywood. And
there's 13 million Americans that won't know that because they didn't watch the ACC championship game. So the ones that watch the SEC and the Big Ten, they're a little bit more familiar with it.
So the way things are now, just go ahead and cut everything off. That's the way it always should be. SMU, forget about you. Forget Boise State, forget about it. The way things were back, basically when John's life began, and the way things are, particularly, I honestly think this. When John was in college, and when I was in college, I believe this too, the world was at its best.
The 80s?
I'm telling you, and I've said
so
this
good.
before. If John could have stopped the world in the status quo of, say, 1985 or 1986.
Yeah.
And
it
just
was the best.
Replicating that year over and over. If we had, what would it be? If we had 38 straight 1986s since 19, John would be happy. He'd be
Was that the year Alabama beat Notre Dame at Legion Field? I think it was. 86 was a pretty good year. It was. Now, there were some things.
Ronnie's in the White House.
Right, exactly.
Telling the Ruskies where to get off.
Ronnie even visited Tuscaloosa during that time period. I went to see him in Coleman Coliseum. It was great. There were some things that happened during that time period that I'd like to do away with, but you live and learn. But all in all, 90% of it was really great. No doubt. I love it. But as Griff said, there's going to be a little adjustments. I think there's going to be some tweaking. I think 2026, we're going to see some big adjustments and additions to this college football playoff. But Barry, when we come back, Griff touched on a subject that I know kind of probably griped some Bama fans about Nick Saban's exit. I wanted to get into that a little bit deeper when we get back from our next break. I thought that was an interesting topic that he brought up.
Never thought about it that way, which is why we are here to introduce you to ideas and topics and stuff that you may have never thought about before in association with Yellowhammer News. It's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Why Hands? At Hands Heating and Air, you get this area's highest ranked service provider with 24-hour repair service, no overtime charges, and their same-day service guarantee. Plus, instead of other companies' 30-day repair warranty, Hands gives you a 3-year repair warranty. Hands Heating and Air is here for you 24/7, 365. And service is not just something they do, it's their way of operating, for you in mind. All of Hands employees are trained to adhere to this standard. They work hard to ensure that this standard is maintained, and they are constantly looking for new ways to better serve you. Call Hands Heating and Air today at 508-5382. That's 508-5382, or find them on the web at 834hands.com.
Phoenix Physical Therapy is ready to help patients recover, recharge, and rise. They develop a customized therapy plan for each patient to get them back to enjoying their favorite activities. Their experienced team is committed to providing exceptional care in a professional environment. Whether you're looking to prevent or treat an injury, recover from a recent illness, or recuperate from surgery, schedule an appointment with our clinic and take advantage of our physical therapy, athletic training, workers' comp, and employer solutions service. Experience elevated physical therapy today. Call Phoenix Physical Therapy at 239-9316. That's 239-9316.
You know all about the 12 Days of Christmas, but what about the 12 Days of Dixie? We're giving away 12 of this year's hottest holiday gifts. Just go to facebook.com/Dixie Electric Plumbing Air and comment on the daily prize post using the hashtag 12 Days of Dixie, and you're automatically entered to win. The winner's name is posted on Facebook the following day with the opportunity to enter daily. The 12 Days of Dixie is going on right now.
All right, welcome back in. Glad you are with us. Remember, you can get in on our bowl prediction contest. Go to yellowhammernews.com. Their what's that? Homepage is what I'm thinking about. Yep. When you hit yellowhammernews.com, the homepage pops up. You'll see the Longshore McKnight bowl prediction icon. Click it. It'll take you less than 5 minutes to enter, and you could win a $1,000 travel voucher from the Montgomery Regional Airport. Getting better the more you use it. The Montgomery Regional Airport with direct nonstop service to Atlanta, Charlotte, Dallas, Fort Worth, and Washington's Reagan National Airport. MGM, check it out today at flymgm.com. Yes, John, I did graduate from college, John. I certainly did. Proud to let you know that. Went back to school and got my degree. So, yes, John, to answer your question, I am a college graduate from the University of Alabama.
Yes, the Tuscaloosa campus and everything. I don't know if I don't know anybody. Maybe there hasn't been anybody that has wrung more life out of his college experience than John has. Oh. I mean, college. There's some people, John, who go through college 3 years, classes every term, full load and everything. Graduate 3 years and they're done. How much do they miss? I'm telling you, I don't know that John, missed a thing. It sounds like an Aerosmith deal. John hit everything when he was.
I packed it in. I can promise you, I didn't miss much. My theory, Barry, was, what's the hurry? I mean, why are we in such a hurry here? I mean, come on, ease back a little bit. Smell the coffee. Enjoy yourself.
He keeps talking about the real world. He put that off for as long as he could.
Yeah. No kidding. I mean, and I'm proud as heck of him. I mean, my oldest child went to graduate school. I'm thinking, more school? What?
Yeah.
My youngest daughter got out in 4. I'm thinking, wow, must have a lot of their mother in them.
Evidently so. All right, tell me what you think about this from our River Region Straw chat line.
Yeah.
Call Kenny at 669-5959. T. Smitty 3, who I believe is Theotis.
Yeah.
T. Smitty 3000 says, I'll say it. If Saban thought the 2024 Bama team was a title contender, he would have told Miss Terry, baby, I have one more season in me. End quote. That sounds legit, right? Doesn't it?
I think that's a factor in it, Theotis. I really do. I think the NIL, the transfer portal, and that were the three things that really pushed Saban to get out of the game. Certainly the transfer portal, the NIL, that's not what he signed up for. And I'm not sure he was overly confident in how good this team was. I mean, there again, I've said it 100 times. Jalen Milroe is a great athlete. He is a fabulous face for the program, but I don't consider Jalen Milroe a great quarterback. And I think Nick Saban knew that. There were some other holes on that team as well. I mean, maybe Nick Saban and another offensive coordinator are putting more on the plate for the offense. The playbook's a little bit more expanded and diversified. But, Barry, I said the same thing after the game in Pasadena. This offense is limited. And I got to admit, I thought with Kalen DeBoer coming in, they would expand it. But is anybody out there in the 12 games Alabama's played so far under Kalen DeBoer, can you think of a game where the offense was expanded and they did stuff differently that you hadn't seen in the prior season? And I think Bama fans are hoping that when Milroe moves on and DeBoer can kind of get his type of player, his type of quarterback in there, maybe they can run an offense that he was known for up in the Pacific Northwest in Washington with the Huskies.
By the way, congratulations, many congratulations for Jalen Milroe, who yesterday won what's called the William V. Campbell Trophy, which is given to the nation's top scholar athlete. It's not like the Rhodes Scholarship, where obviously only a few athletes ever win it, but he won the top scholar athlete award, and it is highly prestigious as a really, really productive player, but also a terrific student. Maybe it's to the point where, he's done everything he can do. He hasn't won a championship at Alabama. He's not going to win a championship at Alabama, but he leaves as a starter. He leaves as a high NFL draft pick, and he's got his degree at a high level and wins the award. Maybe it's time for him to conclude his college career.
As far as I know, Barry, he's playing in the bowl game. Everybody else we've heard about some of the transfers. Some of them I don't really know a lot about. Some I do. More that I don't know about than I do know about that are electing to transfer. But to this point, Milroe is going to play against Michigan on New Year's Eve. Hadn't heard anything differently.
And you can read into that whatever you want. Okay.
And I thought it was, the year that Bryce Young and Will Anderson played in the Sugar Bowl against Kansas State, that was a neat thing. I'm part of this team. I'm a captain. I'm going to play. I thought that was really, really cool. And that's what I will say, that's what college is about. That's how we grew up. It wasn't about all the money and transferring and NFL and NIL and all that kind of stuff. I'd like to see more of that. Maybe this is a year in which we will. I mean, I haven't really looked at the landscape of college football as a whole, but to my knowledge, it doesn't seem like there's been a lot of guys opting out not to play in their bowl game.
Not yet, anyway. We'll see. And again, I don't know exactly the landscape. Maybe the bowls themselves can provide NIL opportunities to certain players out there. I want to get into your reaction to what Mike Griffith said about the timing of Saban's departure, John.
I thought that was real interesting. I kind of wondered about that too, but I wonder, it was kind of like when Saban was hired. I mean, I think timing's probably the most tricky, the trickiest aspect of it. I mean, Saban, when he was with the Dolphins, no, I'm not leaving. No, I'm not going to Alabama, blah, blah, blah. What else you expect him to say? Is he going to get up in front of the podium and say, yep, when this season's over, I am out of here. I'm heading to Tuscaloosa as quick as I can. You can't do that. So how do you step down, particularly if your team is in the playoff? If Alabama had not made the playoff, does Saban announce his retirement prior to a bowl game? I wonder about that. And since they did make the playoff and then he elected to step down, I don't know when. Do you do it in May? I mean, or do you go ahead and tell DeBoer, we're going to hire you, but we're going to wait till this point to do it? I mean, DeBoer's he's got to make sure Washington's in a good place.
And think about it as well, in a different context. There's never really a great way to do it. Harbaugh, when he was at Michigan, he just won the national championship. He's a Michigan alum. They were skewering him for leaving when he did, the way he did, to go to the LA Chargers. Well, how are we going to keep all of these kids from jumping into the transfer portal? And, boy, you just really jettisoned the this and that and all that kind of stuff and everything. So in that context, there's never really just the perfect way to do it.
And I do think, Barry, that maybe that's got to kind of be restructured to some degree, because it does seem it penalizes you. I mean, there again, guys are jumping ship, and DeBoer couldn't do anything about it in terms of going to try to fill those holes until a 30-day period was over.
Correct. Yeah. And that's by rule. That's not for everybody. That's for teams that have coaching changes. Before we get to the top of the hour, we're going to take a break in just a moment. But John, I want you to address this latest chat that just came in from our buddy Robbie, a.k.a. Robert Smith Jr.
Yep.
Robbie says this, and Robbie must have just woken up, got the Giant Mountain Dew cracked and everything, and he says, are y'all going to have a bowl selection contest this year now that you're on a different platform?
The world revolves around Robbie's time frame.
His schedule.
It's around Robbie's schedule. Yes, Robbie, and Gurn Jr. has it up on the screen for you right now.
Beautiful logo.
Go to yellowhammernews.com. Yellowhammernews.com. The homepage will be the first thing you see. You will see the Longshore McKnight bowl prediction icon. Click it, and it'll take you less than 5 minutes. Going to ask you a couple of questions, going to need a name, and you start picking the teams you like. And Robbie, you could be jetting off. Where do you think Robbie'd like to go if he wins the $1,000 travel voucher from Montgomery Regional Airport? Where do you think Robbie'd want to
go?
That's a tough one.
Pittsburgh, maybe?
Hey, Steeler game. Yeah, he's a big Steelers fan.
Yeah.
Maybe Pittsburgh, maybe tour the Grand Canyon, maybe.
That's right. Branson, Missouri, possibly.
Yeah.
Something like that.
So, Robbie, get in. I expect to see your entry in the bowl prediction contest. It's easy. Go to yellowhammernews.com. Homepage pops up. You'll see the icon. Click it. You can enter. Also, each and every afternoon at Yellowhammer News, there's a brief write-up about our program each and every day. You can catch up on what we talked about and discussed here live from 7 until 9 on Longshore and McKnight. Of course, our show is replayed all day, streaming on YouTube and Facebook, Spotify. You can listen that way. So many ways to check us out. A lot of content on Instagram and on X. Barry, really excited about all of the views that we're getting on Instagram. Keep those coming as well. So, a lot of ways to check us out. But, Robbie, we didn't forget about you, buddy.
Yeah, there you go. Let's take a break. We'll start our second live hour here on this Wednesday show. He's John Longshore. I'm Barry McKnight in Houston, Texas, in association with Yellowhammer News. It's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Book tee time sooner. Save on every round. That's what you get with the 2025 RTJ Trail Card. Destination Golf is closer than you might think. Buy a 2025 Trail Card and save every time you play. Plus, you will be automatically entered into the Trails Loyalty Program. Enjoy 10-day advance reservation privileges at each location. 11-day advanced internet tee times on rtjgolf.com and the RTJ app. Enjoy the benefits of a 2025 Trail Card. It makes for a great stocking stuffer, and you save on every round you play in 2025 on the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail.
All guests of Longshore McKnight appear on the City of Montgomery guest hotline. Check out the most interesting and informed personalities in sports covering Auburn, Alabama, Troy, ASU, and all the major teams from across the country. John and Barry have the best guests brought to you by the City of Montgomery. To find out everything you need to know that is going on in the capital city, check out montgomeryal.gov. That's montgomeryal.gov, the capital of dreams.
Hey, this is Barry McKnight from Longshore and McKnight, telling you about our friends at River Region Straw. You're not buying sticks or stems and pine cones. You're buying premium long needle pine straw from River Region Straw. Kenny and his staff have access to the best pine straw in the River Region, full of color, that'll last all season long. They've got locations in Montgomery, Prattville, and Auburn, and no order is too big or too small. From a few bales to an 18-wheeler trailer load, River Region Straw also has seasoned firewood for the cold days and nights ahead. Pickup is available, and your order can be delivered if you like. They can even spread your pine straw if that's what you want to have happen, for sure. Call or text Kenny today, 669-5959. That's 669-5959 for all of your pine straw and firewood needs at River Region Straw.
Alrighty, welcome back. We are here ready to go, kicking off hour number 2. Robbie's coming hard today, Barry, not only about the bowl prediction contest, now he's getting into Alabama and how well they're going to do now that they don't have to deal with the 30-day period of not hitting the portal. Robbie's on fire today.
Yeah, he says, I honestly thought the committee got it wrong. Alabama got caught up with the transfer portal last year, having to wait until the new coaching cycle was over to address the roster. Hopefully a full year in the portal will help DeBoer. Short-term pain hopefully will turn into good next year.
Yeah. You tell him, Robbie.
There you go, Robbie.
I did hear Robbie. He made his comments known with some friends of ours up in Birmingham earlier this week. Those guys didn't get a word in. You know that feeling, Barry. And he was not happy about Alabama getting snubbed. As you can imagine, Robbie did not like the fact Alabama did not make the playoff.
Yeah. Not shocking. Not shocking at all. Boy, he was absolutely lobbying for it as elsewhere. He says at least basketball is going strong for Alabama, Auburn, and for Troy. Yeah.
Hey, I think our man CJ Duncan.
Like it was a disappointment. Well, Alabama football was pretty bad. No, what? It was good. They were 9-3 for God's sake. Yeah.
I'm with you there. Our man CJ Duncan joining us here this morning. Of course, CJ with Yellow Hammer News. He says maybe his camera's not working. We might just have an audio feed of CJ this morning. Hey, CJ, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, guys. I'm sorry you all can't see me. Not sure what's going on. I'm not the best guy with technology, but hopefully I can get something working here in a second.
Hey, no problem at all. If it's just audio during the entire segment, we're absolutely fine with that, because we'd love to get your take, first of all, on any surprises, any disappointments with how the college football playoff final seedings and final invitations went. You good with it or no?
You know what? Similar to what you all were saying earlier about Alabama not getting in, I feel like that's kind of a situation where Alabama kind of made their bed there. I don't know that a championship team, a team that had a real chance to have a run there in the playoffs, would have lost to Oklahoma and Norman the way that they did, right? So I understand the committee and saying, all right, we're just going to put other folks ahead of them. Do I think Alabama's probably better than SMU or probably better than Indiana in a one game kind of playoff situation? Probably so. But in this particular scenario, I think that as an Alabama fan, you just kind of have to take your medicine, and it's probably good going into the offseason, having a little motivation, not sneaking in and having this sense of you done something when really you want to get back to the standard, right? But I think what surprised me the most was the draw that Penn State got.
Mm.
Penn State is a team who's lost to Oregon and Ohio State, but yet they probably had the easiest path to a semifinal in this playoff. And I don't understand the idea of that, right? How does a Oregon team who's ranked number one have a harder draw their first two games than Penn State, who has lost several games and even the games they've won has not looked that impressive.
Yeah, CJ, I'm with you there. I do think the Penn State bracket, I think the Texas bracket as well. I think those paths, and obviously because you're looking at Arizona State, Boise State, but even Georgia getting the bye, I kind of like where they are, and I think you hit it right on the head. I mean, Oregon's sitting there going, whoa, wait a minute. We've been number one basically all season. We blow Penn State out, and this is where you put us. I think the reseeding, CJ, kind of like we do in the basketball tournament, is something this committee has seriously got to consider for 2025.
Absolutely. I think they have to take that into account. And, I think sometimes we get away from the eye test. We saw teams like South Carolina and Ole Miss get left out of the playoff. And, I understand they've got 3 losses. Most of the teams in the playoffs, or everybody in the playoffs, has 2 losses or less. But just the way that they were playing there at the end of the year, and we look at them, if we match them up against an SMU or an Arizona State or an Indiana, I think I would feel a lot better about those teams than I would the latter.
When you look at the way teams are hitting the playoff, hitting the postseason out there as well, if we had to look at somebody, a non-SEC team that gives themselves the best chance, that you think has the best opportunity, is it an Oregon? Is it maybe a Penn State, like you mentioned, with that easier path? Who impresses you most, I guess, CJ, outside of the SEC in the playoff field?
Well, the way I look at it, I go back over to that Oregon part of the bracket, and I look at Ohio State. Ohio State didn't like the loss against Michigan. I did not. But if you look at what they're dealing with in this bracket, they've got Tennessee first game, going to be a very tough game. But then you have Oregon, who you've already played before, and we've already seen how tough it is to beat a team twice. And especially Oregon kind of winning last minute. Ohio State probably in their heads believe they should have won that game. But you've got a lot of noise in the media with Ohio State. And so if they come out, they're a very talented team. There's some things that can be corrected coaching wise. But if you get that motivated team to win that first game, I know they feel like they can win the second one. And then you've beaten the toughest bracket already. Why not go on a run right there? So I mean, Ohio State is probably the team that I feel the best about. Don't feel great about Penn State. Don't feel great about Clemson. And then, I don't think Indiana or Notre Dame's going to get past Georgia.
So, in your opinion, are the 12 best teams in the playoff? There's been a lot of talk about that. Eye test, are they the best? And you know what I'm talking about. I mean, is Arizona State, is Boise, is SMU, are they one of the 12 best teams?
I don't believe so. I don't believe so. I think that one thing we're going to have to also address too is the idea of, this automatic bid. You win your conference championship, you get an automatic bid. And then I think also this idea of if you get to the conference championship, it's not going to count against you. And you see a lot of strength of schedules that are very, very low on this list. And so I do feel like there are other teams who had to go through a lot more throughout this season, whether that's injuries, strength of schedule, whatever it may be, a lot of road competitions as well, that probably had the opportunity to play in this playoff or should have had the opportunity to play in this playoff and are not. They're at home.
I get the reason why they're doing that. Why they want to add again weight and gravitas to conference championships because they want that revenue, they want that TV money, they want that ticket money, and all of that. But along those same lines, if you look at the playoff itself, most of the time these are worthy teams, and that's basically what they want to see. I think one of the things that people are interested in is getting as many marquee players out there as well. Who out there do you think, um, maybe from the SEC, maybe not, is a guy that you think has been kind of unsung in getting his team to where they are? I thought the Georgia game was incredible for a guy named Gunnar Stockton. I guarantee you, if you would have asked John or me who in the world Gunnar Stockton is, I would not have known. But man, if they didn't have that guy,
Gunnar Stockton. It sounds like a character on Yellowstone. Gunnar Stockton.
yeah, something like that. There's guys like that. You've been experienced in this. A lot of times when a game or a situation or a season kind of devolves onto one person, you never know who it's going to be, but you always got to prepare like it's you, right, CJ?
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. It kind of reminds me of the phrase, stay ready so you don't have to get ready. And I think that Gunnar did exactly that, and he took advantage of his opportunity. When I look at this season, I don't know that there's a whole lot of Gunners out there, especially ones in the playoff per se. But
Right.
I do like Dylan Sampson at Tennessee. I think that running backs in the world that we live in now don't get as much love as they probably deserve. And this running back class in the NFL is very, very deep. So I don't know where he's going to go. But, when that guy plays well, Tennessee's very hard to beat. He frees up Nico, takes a lot of pressure off of him, and he allows that defense to play very fast. So I think Dylan Sampson is a guy that could be an X factor going throughout this playoff. I know I picked Ohio State earlier to kind of be a non-conference team to make a run, but also I could see Tennessee beating them in the first round. I think that is a legitimate thing, and I would not be surprised at all.
What you just heard was CJ Duncan giving a Tennessee player some credit. How about that?
It's called growth,
Yeah.
and maturity. I'm trying to be in a better place, but that'll be the last time for a while, at least until next year.
Sure. I tell you, CJ, it's tough. I hear you, man. Those 15 years they were trying to find themselves and they were wandering through the wilderness. That was a great period in Tennessee football. I'm with you. But I will say this, CJ, I agree with you. I think Ohio State better be on lookout alert because I think Tennessee is not a good matchup for them. I love Tennessee's defensive front. I think that could really be a problem for Ohio State. And I'm with you. I think the Vols could give the Buckeyes all they want up there in Columbus.
I agree. I think Nico just has to not turn the ball over, right, and convert on third and mediums, third and shorts. If he can do that, I think Tennessee has a great chance because I think Dylan is gonna. I think he's gonna have a day. I think that he was built for this moment. He's carried them all year. He broke their season rushing record this year. He is primed for this position. It's just a matter of taking care of the ball.
If you were an advisor, and I realize in the transfer portal, John and I talked about this before, CJ, where players make their announcement via Twitter, social media, that God's plan, they're going into the transfer portal. There's tweets from so and so is going into the transfer portal per his agency, this and that. We know that for a lot of these kids, they've got a lot of voices in their ears. Make this decision, make that decision, and give me 5%, do all this. If you could have your voice in the ear of just the general transfer portal guy, what do you think you would tell them as kind of a general comment on what they're thinking about doing or what they're about to do?
Well, my first but the first thing would be a question. Why are you here? What got us to this point? And be honest about it. And then also, how long ago did this so-called incident that may have transpired? When did that happen? Because I think the biggest thing is not making an emotional decision, and then also not making an emotional decision with other emotional people, right? People that are
Exactly.
desperate for you to have money, or desperate for you to send money back, or whatever it may be. I think having someone in your corner, in your ear, that is willing to make a business decision, but also a logical and realistic decision. Because 9 times out of 10, if you're in the portal, something didn't go wrong. I mean, something didn't go right where you were currently. And other coaches are going to find that out. There's no such thing as secrets when it comes to that. And so the grass is not always greener. Sometimes if you are a sophomore quarterback and you realize you have three quarterbacks in front of you, doesn't look
Mm.
right. I totally understand that, because quarterbacks are in high demand in the portal. But if you are a receiver and you're a freshman and you didn't like the way the coach yelled at you, that's not a reason to leave. Matter of fact, that's probably the worst. It's probably worse for you in the long run, because you know what? That next university, they have 10 receivers as well. So what's going to be different? And it's not teaching you any type of uh, life skills. How to be a man and how to overcome any type of adversity.
Very well put, CJ. I'm with you, and I've heard coaches talk about it. Some of these guys that are transferring, they got some baggage, and they're going to take that baggage with them when they go to their next stop. So, do you really want this kind of player? Is he really good for your program? I mean, it certainly works both ways. I certainly get some reasons why people would want to transfer, but I think there's other reasons that just aren't valid. And if you don't like the way the coach is talking to you, well, grow up a little bit. I hate to be the old man, but that's the way we grew up playing football. And I've said it many, many times. They were just things that happened at football practice. You did not come home and discuss at the dinner table while mom was around. Now, maybe when you were taking the trash out to the street with your dad, he might ask you, hey, what happened at practice today? Well, I got my butt chewed out. I messed up a couple of times. And dad's probably going, well, you deserved it. Yeah, you should. You know better than that. These guys, they have thin skin, and they got to thicken it up a little bit.
Absolutely. I think they're very, very sensitive right now, but it's not helping this generation of kids become better. And it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate because a lot of these kids do have talent. They're at the Georgias of the world for a reason. But they're missing the whole point of the whole point of college, right? The development of it all, not just on the field, but also off the field. And so that would be my advice to a kid going through the process right now.
Very solid.
CJ Duncan, Yellowhammer News, joining us here as he does each and every week. Now, CJ, I know you want to get in on the bold prediction contest there at yellowhammernews.com. Just click that icon. It says Longshore McKnight Bold Prediction Contest. Love to see how you compete against all of our other entries in this big event we're putting on.
I would love to. Matter of fact, I'll go ahead and do it today.
Awesome.
There we go. Awesome stuff. CJ, as always, your perspective is valued here. We appreciate it very much and look forward to the next time we get a chance to chat.
Well, thanks for having me, guys. And everybody, let's be rooting for Vanderbilt as they travel to Birmingham this month.
I'm glad you brought that up, CJ. We talked about it yesterday. To me, that's one of the best matchups in all the bowl games. I love the way Georgia Tech's playing. We saw how they played against Georgia, beat Miami earlier this year. We know what Vandy's done. I really like that matchup.
It's two teams that are very similar to each other. They love the quarterback run and they play fast and gritty. So it'll be a tough game. I'm assuming it'll be a low scoring game, but I'm excited to see it.
Outstanding stuff. CJ, thanks very much.
Thank you, guys. Y'all have a good day.
Talk to you next week. Thank you, buddy. CJ Duncan, Yellowhammer News, joining us here today. I tell you, to me, I don't want to say the best because I need to really kind of look at all of them a little deeper. But on, first glance, that game stood out to me. I went Tech and Vandy. That's a great matchup.
Well, plus, and I think so too. I mean, Georgia Tech impressed the heck out of me. Vanderbilt has had a real breakthrough season and everything, but I think it also can play a real factor in their continued rise. They get the extra practices, of course, but
Mhm.
it's a good game. It's a chance to kind of go into the offseason with some added momentum. I look forward to those teams next year. Vanderbilt and Georgia Tech next year are going to get a lot of preseason love, and a lot of that may come from the factor of how they look in that bowl game, which is one
Well,
of the great reasons why we're looking forward to that one in our bowl prediction contest.
yeah, we really are, and I get it. The thing that, and there again, I'm sincere about this one. Hate it for them. I just don't think they're going to be able to build both those teams. I don't think they're going to be able to replace the quarterbacks that they currently have. I mean, and they got that's the key. The reason those teams are so good and as exciting as they are this year because they both got great quarterbacks.
They are both tough as nails. Pavia, particularly in the Alabama game, that's the one that resonates for Vanderbilt. And Haynes King was getting the absolute snot
Oh,
knocked out of him in every play against Georgia. And he kept getting back up and making more plays. I agree with you there. That'll be a big part
I
of
mean,
it as
it
well.
was like Apollo Creed when Rocky kept getting up and Apollo shaking his head like, "What's up with this guy?"
Stay
Yeah.
down, stay down. Throw in the towel, Mick, that kind of a thing. Well, more to come in a moment. A lot of chat wheel.
Oh yeah,
The
Chris.
topic wheel. Yeah.
Chris is coming.
Yeah.
Chris, I'm telling you, it's all I
Hey.
knew.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't you worry.
Barry McKnight here in Houston, Texas. John Longshore over there. It's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Why Hands? At Hands Heating and Air, you get this area's highest ranked service provider with 24-hour repair service, no overtime charges, and their same-day service guarantee. Plus, instead of other companies' 30-day repair warranty, Hands gives you a 3-year repair warranty. Hands Heating and Air is here for you 24/7, 365. And service is not just something they do, it's their way of operating, for you in mind. All of Hands employees are trained to adhere to this standard. They work hard to ensure that this standard is maintained, and they are constantly looking for new ways to better serve you. Call Hands Heating and Air today at 508-5382. That's 508-5382, or find them on the web at 834hands.com.
Welcome to the holidays. They're officially here. Time for tradition, family gatherings, meals, and the annual scramble of searching for those last-minute gifts. Speaking of gifts, this season Budweiser's got your back. Head to the store right now and look for our specials. Why go all over town looking for that perfect gift when Budweiser takes care of everyone in one convenient ice-cold package? When you stock up on Budweiser with our specials, you'll have plenty to share with your friends and family. They'll all appreciate that Budweiser's brewed the hard way and has been for 140 years. We use the finest barley, malt, and hops grown in Idaho and Germany. We don't take any shortcuts when we're brewing. That's our tradition. So make the most of your holidays. Stop by your local store now for our specials. Grab enough Budweiser for yourself, your friends, and your family. It's a new holiday tradition everyone can enjoy together. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Budweiser.
You know all about the 12 days of Christmas, but what about the 12 days of Dixie? We're giving away 12 of this year's hottest holiday gifts. Just go to facebook.com/Dixie Electric Plumbing Air and comment on the daily prize post using the hashtag 12 Days of Dixie, and you're automatically entered to win. The winner's name is posted on Facebook the following day with the opportunity to enter daily. The 12 Days of Dixie is going on right now.
Okay, back at it here, about 23 minutes past the hour of 8 a.m. as we broadcast live. Of course, you can hear and watch our program at your convenience. Check it out on Spotify. Of course, it's replayed on YouTube throughout the day as well, so you can always check it out. Content at yellowhammernews.com. You need to go there for the Longshore McKnight Bowl Prediction Contest. Click the icon and enter yellowhammernews.com. You can't miss it. It's right there on the home page. Instagram, X, we're there. So you'll find us, and we really appreciate all the people that have found us. And of course, watch and view and comment on our River Region Straw chat line. Email us Longshore and McKnight at gmail.com. We'll take your comments that way as well. A lot going on today. Mike Griffith from the AJC Dog Nation kicked it off today. Woo, he got things going early today. And, of course, C.J. Duncan from Yellowhammer News just joined us as well. So, Chris the Bammer itching for the topic wheel. Let's see what we've got on it today.
Let's go topic wheel. Brought to you by Victory Land 777, where there's always winning going on. We have loaded it up with 5. 5 is a good solid number. We can deal with 5. Here we go.
Let's spin this thing and see what happens on the Victoryland 777 topic wheel today. Hope it's not. Did we put enough grease on it? I'm not sure it's locked today.
Oh no.
We've got a lock feature.
Says, I guess the wheel is broken, and he may be right. So let's pick one.
Yeah, it's sitting on reseed at the moment. So we'll check on this reseed. Okay. I'd like to know if we could reseed, how would you have reseeded? And I'll kind of throw out how I would have reseeded the 12 teams that made it. I don't like where they're seated, and I would do it differently.
No, as Megan Trainor once said, and I quote her once, and probably way too much, every inch of it is perfect from the bottom to the top. As far as pure football sense, just pure football, yeah, I would change a few things. But as far as deserving where you're going to be, I got it. I think it's fine that you have automatic buys for the top 4 conference champions. I think that's absolutely, it deserves to be that way. These teams have fought for this recognition and for conference championships. If say Penn State does have an easier way through than the number 1 seed Oregon, maybe you need to change, where the seeds are, which seeds play which. But I got no problem with any of it. I think it's all fine. I don't think.
As you can imagine,
after every round or anything like that.
I've got a major problem with it, and it does not have to do with how many empty seats you had at your conference championship game, or the fact that Flavor of Love reruns outdrew your conference championship game in television ratings. But it's probably going to sound like that because I would have seated it this way. I like Oregon and Georgia as 2 teams getting by. Big Ten and SEC, go figure. But you know what? I would have thrown another SEC and Big Ten team in the first round by as well. I would have had Texas instead of Arizona State in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, and I would have had Arizona State playing Clemson in the first week. I would have moved Ohio State to the Verbo Fiesta Bowl and had Boise playing Tennessee in the first matchup. And I'm not sure I would have sent Tennessee out to Boise to play them. I don't care what Boise did. There again, this is just my opinion. Right. I would have had SMU playing Indiana in that matchup, and I would have had Notre Dame playing Penn State. Yeah, that SMU Indiana game, you could have put that on at 12 noon on a Thursday. Nobody's watching it anyway.
This is Longshore's rationale for that. John, are you sure SMU and Indiana, who's only lost 1 game, really deserves to play an SMU team that didn't even win that lost whatever it was 3? John's rationale. I don't care about strength of schedule.
No, neither does Nick Saban.
What he just said is nobody's watching SMU anyway. Nobody's watching Indiana anyway. You might as well put them both together and minimize the damage, right?
Boom. See, I'm thinking of it from a financial standpoint.
Uh-huh.
If you've got two losers, just put them in there together. Don't have them bringing down some big boy. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Why Hakeem and Jugdish are over there helping themselves to punch and cookies.
Exactly. No doubt. Or
Put
Flounder
them
walking up
over there where nobody will pay attention to them.
and Flounder walking up going, hey, you guys playing cards? Speaking of playing cards, when you get dealt a hand, say you're playing gin rummy, you put all your good cards on one side of your hand, you put the crap cards on the other side so you can go ahead and discard them. That's what I'm doing with Boise and SMU. Indiana. I'm getting them out of here as quick as I can. So don't give me these matchups. I mean,
as soon as I can. What am I doing with the 3 o'clock?
Yeah. So don't waste Arizona State, Boise. Put them in week 1. Put them up against SMU. Put them up against some other crap, Indiana. Get them out of here. Let's go ahead and at least eliminate 4 of them or as quickly as we can by letting them play each other in the first round. I don't care where you play them, but I'm saying I'm not factoring in television ratings and empty seats. I know it sounds kind of like I am.
It does.
Maybe just a little bit, but that's how I would read. And I'll say this. If next year for 2025, if there's some reseeding, and I got to think there's going to be, these are the type matchups you'll see. The ones that I just kind of threw out there that ought to be this year.
Since you're bringing in some really, really obscure factors, i.e. games I want to watch into this reseeding things, how do you feel about the 4 first-round games taking place in South Bend, Indiana, State College, Pennsylvania, Columbus, Ohio, and Austin, Texas, which is not terribly far from where I am right now. It's going to be freezing up there.
I don't care. I don't care because I'm not going to be there. I'm going to be in front of my television with a fire going, cocktail, whatever it may be. Right. So I really don't care where they play. But I will say this. Those 4 schools you just mentioned that are hosting a first rounder, those are big boys. I mean, they're not playing at SMU's little high school stadium. What? They're not playing at that stadium next to a lake in South Carolina. They're not playing in Bloomington, Indiana. They're playing at big boy stadiums in the first week. I do like that aspect of it. The only problem is some of this competition has me kind of wondering a little bit. But, I don't have a problem at all with the weather or who's hosting. And I do understand that I heard this earlier in the week, Barry. I think the highs in South Bend recently have been in like the mid to upper 40s, but the lows are in the teens at night. So, I mean, hey, suck it up, Buttercup. Enjoy yourself.
Suck it up, Buttercup. And I ain't going to be there.
I ain't going to be there.
I guarantee you that. I'm going to be sitting by my fireside with that River Region straw, aged firewood with a little brandy snifter. I'm good.
Now, and I'll go as far as this. If, let's just for instance say, Alabama was hosting a first-round game in a week and a half, and the projected low was, say, like, 22 degrees, you think I'm sitting out there with the masses? No. I'm going to find a way to weasel into somebody's skybox and probably midway through the second quarter go, can we close the glass? Does the glass have to be open? Can we just close the back glass and turn the heaters on up here? I mean, gee whiz.
In that rationale, don't you think at Notre Dame Stadium, where I'm not even sure they got skyboxes, I probably do, but the place is ancient, that they're going to have like a backlog, like hundreds and hundreds of people like you who are going to be saying, hey, you're going to have people who actually have bought those skyboxes, who actually have spent big money. They're trying to get up there, and they have to wind through the people like they're Taylor Swift trying to get back to her hotel after the Eras tour stop. And they're going to say, no, you can't. No, it's full up there. Sorry. And just kind of you're going to have a bodyguard to get through all the Longshore wannabes. Like, hey, That
Well,
extra spot, I just need a little.
some people know
back.
how to navigate the system, and as Griff showed us, I do need to replenish my Skybox plastic cups. I went down during the break and I noticed I only had 2 or 3 left. I think the boys use them and throw them in their cars or something.
Right.
But I'll tell you, Barry, it's not as difficult. I don't want to give away all my secrets, but I will tell our viewers and listeners one little incident where I did get on the elevator. I was with Doc MBA. We were heading to the press box, but the elevator happened to stop and the door opened on the box level. And I looked at Doc MBA. I said, "This is our stop. Get off right now."
Yeah.
And we got off, and I texted the guy, "Hey, man, what box are you in?" He texted me back, boom, watched the whole game from the guy's box like he'd invited us. It was great. We did leave before the game was over. Now, granted, there was only like 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter, but we thought it would be polite if we left before the game was over since we technically weren't invited. We didn't want to stay the whole game.
There are some religious aspects that are sprinkled throughout the Bible that when they come, people realize exactly what the opportunity is. The burning bush, seeing Jesus turn wine into water. You're thinking, okay, all right. When your door automatically opens on the skybox level and John and Doc NBA look at each other and you can hear, the herald angels singing, saying, "Come on out." And, well, thank you. And you got to take advantage. It'd be a sacrilege if you turned down something like that.
All I got to say, Barry, maybe Jerry World needs to have a little bit tighter security on the box level. That's all I'm saying.
That's not your deal.
It's not my problem, though.
You didn't have anything to do with that.
No, not at all.
So,
I enjoyed it immensely. It was great.
Right.
Appreciate it.
Topic wheel is up and running. Gurn has got some 3-in-1 oil. I don't know why they call it that, but he's got some 3-in-1 oil, and we are ready to go. We have already hit the reseed topic. Let's spin it again.
Spin it again. Spin the Victorland 777 topic wheel on this Wednesday. Man, he did lube that thing up. That thing is moving. Okay, improvements.
Yes.
Okay, we've talked all week about the college football playoff, bowl games, transfers, recruiting classes, things of that nature. What area does Auburn and Alabama need to improve their football teams? What area comes to mind? And I know it's some, you might think 2 or 3. And if you want to say 2 or 3, that's fine, because I can think of 2 or 3. But what areas did both these teams have got to improve for 2025?
Obviously with Auburn, it's the quarterback, and we understand, and we'll talk with Jason Caldwell about this tomorrow from auburnundercover.com, that the Duke quarterback, Malik Murphy, who had transferred out from Texas and was terrific this year at Duke, he is transferring out from Duke, and he is going to be may already be visiting Auburn right now. I love the concept of somebody leaving Duke and transferring to Auburn because, they want a high-quality degree.
Yeah, their academic standards are similar.
Yep, but remember, there's a guy named Dorian Mousey who was a linebacker. He played against Troy in the Birmingham Bowl last year. Pretty good linebacker. He transferred to Auburn. Wasn't a huge factor. But I imagine there's some conversation between Mousey and Malik Murphy about, hey, what is it like? What is Freeze really like? And Mousey's response is like, who cares? Have you seen the quarterback room over there? Their NIL beats Duke's. Duke's got a good NIL. It all goes to basketball. Auburn's got a really good NIL. And their quarterback room is basically a freshman and a redshirt freshman. Have you seen that? That's opportunity knocking. That's the equivalent of all of a sudden having your elevator door opening up on the club level.
Yeah.
You take a look. Yeah. You take a step out and see what's shaking there. I mean, that's worth a look for him. Also, offensive line, offensive tackles. Auburn has a crying need for those. And not just those, not just more bodies, not just guys who can backpedal and call for help at the same time. They need quality offensive tackles. Whoever looks into Auburn there, who is an athletic offensive tackle, you're going to like the opportunity that's available there.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. I think defensively Auburn played really pretty good this year. The record might not indicate that. You're thinking how'd they lose as many games as they did, but I really think defensively Auburn played pretty well. I think DJ Durkin's a really good defensive coordinator, so I think they're pretty solid there. Maybe plug a couple of places. But yeah, I think offensive tackle is a huge need at Auburn. They've got to have better quarterback play. And I do wonder with the departure of Jarquez Hunter, who steps up, who's filling that role, because they've got to continue to have a consistent running game.
I agree there. For Alabama, I know quarterback. Everybody's going to say quarterback, and they're going to lose a couple of linemen to the draft. But it sounds crazy to say that. They need some depth at wide receiver, don't they?
Well, I think so. We've already seen it, Barrett. I mentioned it a couple of weeks ago. You're going to see wide receivers transfer. You've already seen it. But yeah, they cannot continue to rely so heavily on Ryan Williams. They've got to have more options at wide receiver. I would think that would be a very a need area. And I'm sure the transfer portal is an area that they're certainly looking. I know they've got some wide receivers coming in this signing class, but they're raw, they're green. Or are they at the level of Ryan Williams? I wouldn't imagine they would be. That guy's kind of, out there on his own. I mean, you don't get those kind of guys in every class. But yeah, wide receiver definitely. I think offensive line play it needs some improvement as well. I'm not impressed with Caden Proctor at one of the tackles. I think they got to have they got to solidify the tackle position in Tuscaloosa as well. And I wonder about transferring out quarter. I mean, the feeling is Milroe's done, whether he goes to the NFL or whatever, he's done. But what about Ty Simpson and Dylan Lonergan? Are both of those guys hanging around? They've got a really, a five-star quarterback coming in from Denton, Texas, that they're doing backflips about. But will he be ready to step in as a true freshman? Not so sure. You kind of get the feeling that Ty Simpson has worked his way, put himself in a position to be the starter next year. Is Dylan Lonergan going to hang around another year if that happens? And you're right. I think improved quarterback play, expanding the playbook is going to be huge because, to me, that's what a Kalen DeBoer offense is all about. You don't know what's coming next. With Alabama's offense, you knew what was coming. It was number 4.
Right. Brian Cannon, he just chats. He says, Bama is already deep at wide receiver and looking at several in the portal from Louisiana, North Carolina State, and Texas. Yeah, the portal is going to be good to them. Deep at wide receiver, I'll take your word for it. I know they're going to lose a couple. I think losing Law, Kobe Prentice, the big kid, the 6'6" kid. I can't think of his name right now. If they were deep, if they had numbers and all, God bless them, because like I said, down the stretch, at least 90% of every throw that went to a wide receiver from Jalen Milroe went to either Jeremy Bernard or Ryan Williams.
You got to spread it around.
If there are more, somebody's going to have to show me.
I will say this, Barry, they got to improve at tight end. I just was not impressed with the tight end play. And I heard so much about how the tight end was going to be a part of the offense, and it was at times. But consistent play, didn't see it. Was not overly impressed with the tight end play. Defensively, I know those DBs were young. That alpha dog on defense. Under Saban, there were so many great ones in the middle that were the quarterback on the defensive side. And I think they missed a little of that this year. They need improvement there as well.
So that's what we've got out of our improvements category.
Yeah.
There.
Let's spin it again. I know Mary Ann from Marguerite is going to join us here in about 5 minutes or so. So we got a little time before we join in with her. So yeah, let's spin it. And I bet Chris the Bammer's loving this. Man, we're rolling through the Victorland 777 topic wheel this morning. Really enjoying this.
Yes.
Oh, where is it going to end? Boom. SEC hoops. This one kind of triggered me yesterday, Barry, when we had Travis Ryer on. I got to tell you, I really hadn't paid much attention to other teams in this league because it's focused mainly on Auburn and Alabama and how well they're playing and how exciting of a brand of basketball they play. But Travis said, hey, man, watch out for these other teams in the league. He talked about Florida. He talked about Tennessee. Talked about a couple of other teams. This league seems to be very strong. So just don't be paying so much attention to the Tide and the Tigers.
Well, right now in the latest poll, in the latest AP poll, Tennessee's number one. Man, the athletic director, a guy named Danny White, no, not the former Cowboys punter, he's done great. They've won a national championship in baseball. They are the number one team right now, ranked in men's basketball. They've always been incredible in women's basketball. Their football team is in the college football playoff. Tennessee's got C.J. Duncan is propping up Tennessee. Dogs and cats living together.
Unbelievable.
Tennessee's number one rated in the country. They're 9-0, but they're 9-0 along with two other teams in the SEC. Oklahoma is 9-0. They're number 13. Florida, and even Bart Heisch was giving the Gators some love. Florida is 9-0. They're number 9 in the country. Auburn is leading in the latest KenPom ratings, the latest strength ratings. Auburn is number 2 in the AP poll. They are 8-1. But Kentucky's number 5. Of course, Alabama's number 7 in the latest poll. They're 7-2. Number 7 in the league. Number 17, Texas A&M. Number 19, Ole Miss. They're 8-1. So is number 25, Mississippi State. There's some really good basketball. There are 16 teams in the SEC in basketball. The worst team right now, the poorest record right now in the SEC, South Carolina.
Whoa.
At 6-3.
Wait a minute.
6-3, John. Pretty doggone good. Everybody else is 7-2, 7-2, 8-2, 8-1, 8-1, 9-1, or 9-0. The SEC is rocking right now.
It is.
It's not close anywhere else, any other conference in the country. Not close.
The SEC tournament, Nashville, should be extremely exciting. I know Total Sports Travel has already got a package available. If you're interested in that, want to be in Nashville for the tournament in March. Also, should be a lot of SEC teams in the NCAA tournament in March as well.
By the way, one more note about all of that this weekend. Huge weekend. Number 7, Alabama is hosting Creighton. Creighton is really good.
Yes, they are.
That'll be at 7:30 Saturday night at Coleman Coliseum. And, of course, at noon in Atlanta, Auburn versus Ohio State at, I forget what they call the arena. I think it's State Farm Arena in Atlanta.
It is, yeah.
That is noon on Saturday. Auburn, number 2 in the country, playing in Atlanta, getting a little feature there against Ohio State. And Ohio State is 6-3. That game's on ESPN2. Really big. And I think that has a lot to do with the interest, not just because both of those teams are phenomenal, but also because the competition that they're playing in the pre-conference is really good.
Yeah, they certainly are. It's great. It's exciting, these non-conference games. I'm glad that we're playing them, not only here in Auburn and in Tuscaloosa, but also around the league. I think it's really good for the interest in college basketball. Good stuff there, particularly now, because Barry, this is Army Navy's all we got this week in college. And no, we're not. We've wrapped up with our Dreamland Pick 3 contest, and we really appreciate Dreamland and Bob and the group. Very, very popular, but not a lot of games this week to play. Of course, it is a big NFL weekend, but the bowl prediction contest is kind of taken over for the remainder of the year. So focus on that. Go to yellowhammernews.com. You'll see the bowl prediction icon there. It says Longshore McKnight Bowl Prediction. Click it. Take you less than 5 minutes to get it completed, and you'll be good to go with the opportunity to win a $1,000 travel voucher from the Montgomery Regional Airport. Getting better the more you use it. FlyMGM.com. Barry and I will be out there tomorrow morning broadcasting live from MGM to tell you more about what they offer there. Hey, convenience, ease, less hassle, economical. Isn't that what it's all about when you travel?
And we always talk about flying out of Montgomery Regional. You can go to flymgm.com to book your trip, and you're thinking, man, it'll be so great to get there and get on the plane. Believe me, it is as good, maybe even better, to fly back to Montgomery and not have to deal with the trundling your bag 1.5 miles to your car or more, and then dealing with the Atlanta traffic and then coming back. Flying out of MGM is good, John. Flying into MGM is just as good, believe me.
You know, man, y'all excited about wherever you may be going, whether it's a business trip, whether it's a trip, pleasure trip, having fun, no matter. You're always excited, ready to go, you know, anticipating what's coming. And then coming back, you're a little tired, you may be a little worn out, been a long couple of days, whatever. You want to drag that luggage through a mile-long parking lot, getting off a shuttle van, and the guy ain't helping you get your bag off that shuttle van. I can promise you that. Then you got to pay that exorbitant parking fee, and then you got to get on 85 and drive home, probably through a construction zone or some traffic delay or whatever.
Yep.
Why put yourself through that? I don't know why people do it. I really don't.
Just go to flymgm.com and travel above. And when you're coming in, if you got an outgoing tomorrow, stop by and wave at us. You know, come on,
have that happen a lot.
Us and stick your head in, and bring us a "Hi Mom" sign or something. Put it in the background because we're going to be on the air, so to speak, tomorrow from 7 until 9 live.
Yep. Hey, Chris, the reason the bowl game in Montgomery's at 8 p.m. Hey, Montgomery's a happening town, man. This thing, it's like Vegas. It doesn't come alive till the sun goes down. No, it's really because the Heisman Trophy is first, and then they're leading into the game after that.
That is correct. They'll announce the Heisman Trophy. They'll have all that stuff, and then boom, immediately they'll go to the Salute to Veterans Bowl in Montgomery, Alabama. That's the best lead-in in the bowl system right there. Let's take a break. When we come back, Mary Ann from Marguerite's will join us, and Chris, couple more spins coming up.
Better believe it.
Presented by Bud Light.
Book tee time sooner. Save on every round. That's what you get with the 2025 RTJ Trail Card. Destination golf is closer than you might think. Buy a 2025 Trail Card and save every time you play. Plus, you will be automatically entered into the Trails Loyalty Program. Enjoy 10-day advance reservation privileges at each location. 11-day advanced internet tee times on rtjgolf.com and the RTJ app. Enjoy the benefits of a 2025 Trail Card. It makes for a great stocking stuffer, and you save on every round you play in 2025 on the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail.
Heads or tails, kick or receive, with the wind or against the wind. Buy your friend a Bud Light. Buy a stranger a Bud Light. Go to your team's bar. Go to the opposing team's bar. Buy a round during the next truck commercial. Buy a round during the next talking duck commercial. If you're truly up for whatever this weekend, grab the perfect beer for whatever happens. Crisp, refreshing Bud Light. Make 2 plans and let the NFL coin toss make the call. Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
The Victoryland Casino 8 Days of Giveaways is going on now. The more you visit, the more chances you have to win. We're giving away $125,000 in free play and cash. That's right. Victoryland Casino is giving away $125,000 in free play and cash. Come play the latest and greatest games featuring exciting bonuses and huge jackpots. There's always more ways to win at Victoryland Casino off I-85 exit 22, Shorter, Alabama. Must be 21 or older. Must be present to win.
Sorry about that. Have my mic on mute here. Sorry about that. On this Wednesday edition, it is Longshore McKnight presented by Bud Light.
Now, Marianne at Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry joins us live this morning to kind of help things out. Marianne, I've got my list of suggestions from Dean. I'm ready to come. I need you to help me out. It's become a holiday tradition, Marianne. I'm I'm looking forward to some help. Can you give me some assistance?
Obviously, of course, yes. I'm happy to help you, help John, help any of the listeners out there. We offer personalized service. We are staffed. We've got, of course, our amazing staff that's here year round. We have lots of extra and part-time help to make sure that everything goes smoothly. But just like we've said before and all the hardest thing you have to do with shopping is walk through the door. After that, we can take it from there.
Well, I was in the store yesterday, Barry. It is absolutely beautiful. So many gorgeous jewelry items for our viewers and our listeners to take a look at. Marianne, not only, of course, the Christmas special that Lyle talked so much about. I know he's so proud of that. But you've also got other jewelry items that people might be interested in as well. And is it not too late for special orders? Can that still be done?
It still can. Obviously, the more time we have, the better. So if you could get in the next day or so, we'd all appreciate it. But of course, I mean, we've done things on shorter deadlines before. But yes, there's always time. We really do make it. We have an in-house jeweler with some extra little elves back there to help make sure that we get everything pushed out in time. And of course, like the answer is yes. Like Lyle never turns down a challenge, so we can make it custom. But the more time, the better. But we got you covered.
Well, you've had so much experience in this, in the Christmas and the holiday season, so long. What kind of this year for Christmas and the holidays 2024, Marianne? What are the things that are really been popular this year, or will be popular this holiday season for the ladies?
Yellow gold is really big. I know I've said it before and lots of other things, but men who've always bought white gold, we keep a tally. Like if you shop at Marguerite's, it's real easy. I'm like, have you shopped here before? We'll look in the computer. We'll see the listing of everything that you've gotten from first day to whatever. So you got her a white gold cross or white gold hoops or this or that or a bracelet. But they're just like, my wife mentioned she wants some yellow gold this year. So we've been doing yellow gold hoops, and bracelets are really big. Different shaped diamonds. We've been doing some funky. People want unique, and we've got it.
Sure.
We've just stocked the cases with lots of things, lots of different bold gemstones. Diamond by the yards are another big hit this year. Diamond inside out hoop earrings. But yeah, yellow gold is in. Even if you're like, nope, my wife, she just wears white gold, and we can confirm it. They're just like, well, you know what? You were right. I asked her, asked my daughter, or asked her best friend or her sister, and they're like, yep, you know what? She actually does want some yellow gold. So good job. And we get them set up.
Folks, that's a full-service jeweler. You're not going to get that at some mall or strip center. You're getting that at Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry. Hometown people, been here helping you out for decades, and they're here for you for Christmas as well. Marianne, I know you got extended hours through Christmas Eve. Tell our viewers and listeners when they can come see you.
Yeah, we're open 10 to 6, Monday through Saturday, noon to 5 on Sunday. But as always, if we're helping somebody, we're not going to lock and bolt the doors. So just let us know. We are happy to accommodate everything. But for right now, next week, we'll probably extend them even a bit more. But for right now, we're 10 to 6, Monday through Saturday, and then noon to 5 on Sunday.
Well, that's good, because I'm going to come see you next week, Marianne. Looking forward to it.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Marianne. 8163 Vaughan Road in Peppertree, adjacent to Chappie's Deli. They're going to be open a little early next week, Barry, because we will be there broadcasting live on Tuesday and Wednesday at Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry. We'll be kicking off at 7 a.m. to get you going, because it's really the last week before Christmas. And so you need to be hustling up if you've got somebody on your Christmas list. And we'll be there broadcasting. Looking forward to doing that next week at Marguerite's.
Okay, a little bit more time for the topic wheel.
Let's do it.
By Victoryland. Let's crank it up.
Yeah, let's see what else we got left on the Victoryland 777 topic wheel. Let's do it. 2 more spins before the top. Let's see if we can squeeze them in. Madness. That was a band, I believe. They had a song, Our House.
In the middle of our street.
Yeah, talking about the 80s. Barry, talking about Madness here. Like the basketball tournament in March, if we expand the playoff to 16 teams, should we play games at the same time like they do in basketball?
Already this year, there are a couple of games in this year's playoff that are bumping up against the NFL. I don't see any way around it, to be honest. I mean, just logistically, you're going to have to do that. This is what concerns me, probably as much as anything, about a 16-team playoff is all of these hyper important games, virtually every one of them, except maybe the semis and the national championship, are going to be bumping up either against another playoff game or against the NFL. There's no way around it. So, all of this feature stuff, hey, now welcome into the Rose Bowl, a college football semifinal or quarterfinal or whatever. That's going to have a lot of oomph behind it, but not against, Chiefs Bills or Steelers Lions or something like that. So there's always going to be kind of, even this year with conflicts with the NFL, if it goes to 60, it's not it's going to be a thing. They're going to do it.
I think it is too.
I don't think they're going to like it, but I think they're going to have to do it.
I think they're going to have to do it as well.
Yes.
Theotis, good point. Why would somebody put their house in the middle of the street? That's interesting. Yeah. Huh. Now, the middle of the block, I get it. If you're like halfway down the block, but you're, not in the middle of the street.
This is madness. And again, I don't know how we get down the rabbit hole, but our house in the middle of our street, wasn't it Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young who did Our House Was a Very, Very, Very Fine
I think it was
house?
not. I think that was them. Yeah.
Why was life so hard just because you had two cats in the yard?
Well, yeah, it's a good. I don't know. Maybe it got to clean up after that cat. Let's see if we can get one more in. I know we're right at the top of the hour, but I wanted to give a shout out to this last category.
Okay.
I don't know, Barry, who the hires and the fires are. You can spin it just for good old time's sake. But obviously, Dennis Mitchell has been hitting us hard with the hires and fires. He is just our go-to guy of who got fired and who got hired when it comes to sports.
Yeah, a couple of quick things in a nutshell. There have been a lot of changes. There are a couple that are breaking. Bill Belichick has not taken the North Carolina job. Wouldn't that be something? He evidently submitted to the North Carolina Search Committee a 400-page notebook with a plan, an organizational structure, how the NIL payments would work, staffing, both on and off the field, titles and all that kind of stuff. So he knows what he's doing. I think two things. One is a pushback from the Board of Trustees saying, I don't know that he necessarily can be trusted with the well-being of our student athletes being treated like they should, meaning we think he may yell at them a lot because we heard he yelled at them a lot whenever he was coaching in the NFL. Number two, I honestly believe that he is asking behind the scenes for his son, who's Steve Belichick, who was on his staff for years and years and years with the Patriots, is now with the Seahawks, that he wants his son to be the coach in waiting. And I don't know that they're going to be okay with that. So it'll be interesting as well. Scott Frost is the new head coach at UCF.
Heading back, yep.
Yeah. Barry Odom, who John and I both said back in the day we were really impressed with when we had a chance to interview him and listen to him at SEC Media Days when he was at Missouri. I think that's a good one as well. So this is that time, and it's better to act while the iron's hot than wait and wait and wait. So we'll see.
And Dennis, thank you for keeping us updated on our River Region Straw chat line. Really appreciate that, Dennis. Because I got to tell you, some of these fall through the cracks with me. I don't keep up with it like Dennis does. If it's a wrestler who has passed away or a coaching vacancy, Dennis knows about it. Hey, as we wrap up tonight, Rams at the 49ers. You can check that out on Prime Video. So I'll be checking a little NFL out tonight, Thursday night football. Al Michaels, Kirk Herbstreit, and I can't think of who the sideline reporter is.
Well, I'm interested in that because I've got that for tomorrow night, actually. So, yeah.
I'm a day ahead of myself, Barry. I think it's Thursday already. It's actually Wednesday.
You're just excited for
Right.
Al. You just,
Yeah.
Al Michaels? Ooh, can't wait.
Cannot wait. You're right about that. I'm looking at the big logo here on my screen, and it is tomorrow. I should have known better. I'm just so used to football every night. We went through like 6 weeks of a game every night. Now we don't have any football, so I'm watching Law and Order reruns on BBC America every night.
Just the idea of John watching BBC America makes me laugh. Great content today from Mike Griffith, AJC, and the Dog Nation, CJ Duncan from Yellowhammer News. Tomorrow, a lot going on tomorrow.
Oh, boy.
A lot. Can
We're
I
gonna,
accent the words a lot?
We are going to be really busy tomorrow. Senator Tommy Tuberville scheduled to join us on the program tomorrow. Looking forward to talking to Coach. Jason Caldwell, as always, might have to move Jason around just a tad for Coach Tuberville, Senator Tuberville. Rodney Orr, the Tider Insider, will join us tomorrow as well. And Barry, we'll be broadcasting live from the Montgomery Regional Airport tomorrow. FlyMGM.com. Check it out. And make sure you go to YellowhammerNews.com. Click that bold prediction icon, Longshore McKnight, and enter the bold prediction contest by 12 noon on Saturday. That's the cutoff date, 12 noon on Saturday. Get them in. You could be the big winner of a $1,000 travel voucher from MGM.
Here with Houston, Texas in the background, I'm Barry McKnight. He's John Longshore, presented